r/ask Reddit. What super obvious thing did you only recently realize? I was playing Monopoly, and someone owned a load of properties all clustered together. I said, you've got a bit of a monopoly on that part of the board. Hey, that's funny, because we're playing Monopoly, and you got a. Oh, I see now. Also, the fact that the game is supposed to be unfair, introducing rules that flow money back into circulation, like the pot in free parking. Keep the game going forever because no one gets screwed into bankruptcy, because the system is more fair and sustainable. That in order to properly use a hand dryer, you have to rub your hands. I used to just put my hands under it and question why it was taking so long. But then I saw one of my friends rubbing their hands, and I felt stupid. The division symbol divide is just a fraction. The two dots represent numbers. The first thing I've learned from this thread, row. That raincoats typically have bright colors so you're easier to spot during heavy rain, not because raincoat designers have bad taste. Row. I always found it funny how ABBA songs fit the movie Mamma Mia so well. It took me years to figure out the movie was made around the songs. I refused to watch real story movies till I was about 8. Thought real story means they literally followed people in everyday life and was freaked out about how people are just watching real people get killed and whatnot and enjoying it. The houses in Bikini Bottom are car mufflers. You know, it also supposedly takes place in Bikini Atoll, where the US did all their nuke testing. 42 here. In the song Jingle Bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. I never knew why Robin would lay an egg. It seemed so random and weird to me. Just this winter, walking down a hallway at work, it finally clicked into place. Robins are birds. Birds lay eggs. Yep, sharp tack over here. This is the first one in the thread that I just learned for the first time. I was picturing a grown man-child laying an egg. Eeyore is the noise donkeys make. My wife recently realized that kangaroo make kangaroo. A chef is called a chef in a restaurant because restaurants originated in France and chef just means boss in French. And the sous chef is the underboss. That the mommy in that Christmas song wasn't cheating with Santa but instead, it's the dad dressed in a Santa Claus costume. That's why I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. This is the one. For the longest time I thought the mom was kissing actual Santa and it was messed up how the song was played off as cute. I just finished reading Dracula by Bram Stoker. At the end of the book, there was a little blurb about the author, Abraham Stoker. Bram is short for Abraham. I didn't know that. Similar, Topher Grace is Christopher. M and M are his initials, M and M. Eminem initially went by M&M. He later changed it to Eminem. Tinder app is so called because it helps spark a connection with a match. Not me, but my mom was in college when she realized that it's slivered almonds and not silvered almonds. Unless you are trying to poison a werewolf. Might just be a US thing, but whatever. The measuring stick pole on the inside of gas stations is for identifying the height of potential robbers. And the reason the stick seems to be off the proper marks is because it's angled so the camera can see their height. Breakfast is named so because you're breaking the fast from when you were sleeping. Your comment made me realize that the meaning of desayuno, breakfast in Spanish, is the exact same. Mount Wanahakallaji. I am Aussie, so hearing it without subtitles as a kid, I just assumed it was another American attempt at an Aussie sounding name. Seeing it written down made me feel like the dumbest thing alive. The Los Angeles Angels is actually the Angels Angels. And while you're in LA, visit the La Brea Tar Pits, which means the Tar Pits. That Mike Myers played both Dr. Evil and Austin Powers. I watched those movies since I was 4. He also plays Fat Bastard. That the Guinness Beer Company is responsible for the Guinness Book of World Records. Interesting. Reminds me of how the Michelin Guide, the group that gives out Michelin stars for top tier restaurants, is the same Michelin as the Michelin Tire Company. Weird. Your bones are always wet. They've also probably never seen the light of day. Edit. I forgot about teeth. Stop roasting me. Edit 2. Teeth aren't bones. Calm down y'all. As a non-native English speaker, I just recently found out why ground beef is called ground beef. I was always like, yeah, maybe it's the foundation of beef, so it's the ground. like the basis. But only recently I realized it's the past tense of to grind something. Now that makes sense. I'm just imagining a non-native speaker going to an American butcher, not remembering the term correctly and asking for foundational beef. I'm laughing too much at this. About 6 months ago, I had an epiphany while opening up a new deodorant. I realized that I could click it up from the bottom and just remove the plastic top once the deodorant had raised up a bit. I've always pulled the plastic piece off before raising the deodorant, like tugging on it, using my teeth, etc. I'm 36 years old. I have an engineering degree. I came out of the bathroom and told my husband about it. I think it made him reevaluate what he was doing with me, lol. Then I called my mom to let her know she failed that step of parenting me. I realized that aquarium walls are reflective on the inside once they're filled with water. I've kept a goldfish for the past decade, so I should have noticed. But goldfish also aren't really territorial, so he never minded. I keep a better fish now, and he's very mad at his reflection. I only realized 2 weeks ago that he'd even have one. The reason that the lower notes are on the left side of the piano is because most people are right-handed, and the bass parts are simpler to play, even with a non-dominant hand. I can't believe I made it to my 30s without ever stopping to think about left-handed piano players. I string my guitar left-handed because I have more dexterity for chords with my right, but I couldn't just switch a piano around if I needed to. How uncomfortable to get used to. Sweatbands are to collect the sweat and not make you sweat more. There was this really pretty girl in high school who bugged the shit out of me, would do obnoxious stuff like go out of her way to talk to me about nothing, and one time she laid on me when I had my hair down on my desk. She would take my erasers and draw on them and I hated that. Then I realized she probably liked me. I realized that, out of the blue, when I was in my 30s. So watch out, ladies. If you show any affection toward me in 15 or 20 years, I'll be knocking on your door still unsure of your intentions. When people said, it's a double-edged sword, I thought the sword's hilt was also a sword. Only until yesterday, it was explained to me by my brother that it was just sharp on both sides of the blade. Took me a long time to realize pay-per-view was actually words that described it. I'd never seen it written. That the little arrow next to the fuel icon on your dashboard shows which side the fuel tank is on your car. In the song Africa by Toto, for the longest time I thought it was I guess it rains down in Africa, not I bless the rains down in Africa. I always thought he missed the rains, not blessed them. That the Rick and Morty episode Pickle Rick was an entire story about him getting himself out of a pickle. Watch for ice on bridge signs are because ice forms on bridges before it does on roads. It's because the bridge cools off faster than the ground, right? Because of the airflow beneath. The word hyperbole is spelled hyperbole. I know the word but never connected the spelling to the pronunciation, and thus in written form thought it was an entirely different word. The funniest, saddest thing here is I'm dead serious and this comment is not a hyperbole. SMH. When I was like 4 or 5 I had a very good friend. He was Chinese and his parents could only speak broken Dutch. I live in the Netherlands. One day he suddenly said he had to move back to China in the next few days and I was kinda heartbroken because he was my best friend. The school had no idea why he suddenly wasn't there anymore after he left. I now realize that his parents probably were deported by the Dutch government. Heterogeneous and heterogeneous are different. That Penelope doesn't rhyme with cantaloupe. Reddit means read it, the meaning of Reddit. Just yesterday I realized that the throw the spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks method is done with one noodle and not the whole pot. I hadn't really thought about it since I was a kid, but apparently I've been keeping this idea that some people just had super clean walls for their noodle tossing. The meaning of it's always in the last place you look. I practice a little bit of archery in my spare time, and one time I was leaning a little on my bow and bending it against the ground. It occurred to me that you'd have to do that in order to get the string on it. Then I just stared at it for a minute and said to myself, out loud, hey, you know what? You'd have to bow this in order to, son of a beach. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.